short video about angel magic and how it develops for quite many. It isn't as they say in the books that everything happens at once and you do a ritual one time and it will change your life instantly. But I wrote down some, and they can vary in where they start, but some points that usually happen. That first point is that what is actually developing within you is what you have, your unique qualities within, that is natural to you, and it's so natural that you don't even recognize that something is happening, since you think that everybody knows this and everybody is good at this, and it can feel dull and boring as well. And that might be your natural talent really shining through there, but you don't understand it really. And usually we don't understand it as older either, since it's something that doesn't interest us in any way. And we don't think of it as anything special, but it is something that we do with strength and power. And the second is starting to look and to develop things that were uninteresting in magic. You start to look at different things and powers that you didn't care about. Many just wants to learn magic and psychic powers, and they don't care about anything else. And those are usually the powers that develop the last. But you start to learn to protect, you start to take action, you learn to how to stop to procrastinate things, you take responsibility, you suddenly have quick ideas and inspiration starts to come, and you become very curious about different things. And then comes stage 3, and you really start to feel you want to study everything. And often during these stages your dreams start to change a bit, that they start to become a little bit magical and not as normal as everyday life used to be before. But in subtle ways, so it doesn't always make it so big in the beginning. And number 4 is taking action more often in life. And you are quick to respond and take action whenever it's necessary. And this is something that people don't ever recognize that they have changed. And then 5 is quite common, this one, an urge within to help others. And that is something you either don't think about, many people don't, me included, that is if somebody is being beaten, attacked, bullied, or needing medical attention, or they are missing, let's say, £1 while they are shopping, or $1, that you just pick it out so they can buy their groceries to their family and so on. And this is something you do from within, so you don't even think of doing it. And then number 6 is when you really start to get the bug. And you're starting to try out everything that you read in books. Things that were scary at first, you suddenly start to, I tried this once and I tried this, and it becomes something very magical. And 7 is when you start to facing your fears. And it doesn't happen straight away. Many times with demons or other entities, that can be a huge hurdle in the beginning. But with angels, they are soft in their approach in the beginning, and then they help you to become stronger until you are ready to face fears. But you still have to face your fears and your shadows. And number 8 is starting to trust, both in the angels, starting to trust yourself in real life, and in many cases you find connection to spirituality, religion, and you start to believe in that magic works, and you start to forget about that you have done it, and And number 9, and here comes especially for many who are coming in as atheists or agnostics, that are need for spiritual connections or faith. There is something that happens within the heart that you start to study different religions and so on. And it is just something that happens in different times in different people. And number 10 is, that's when you feel confident and have learned to trust, that you start to create your own rituals with confidence. And 11 should be usually about starting to understand others' viewpoints and learn from them without having to defend yourself, your opinion. You just listen and learn what you need to learn. You don't have to fight with them, you don't have to argue with them. You just listen and take what is good from their viewpoints, even if they are quite mean to you in other ways, but you still listen to them, since you know that you can learn something from that. And 12, and it is not, you are not afraid of mixing, let's say, archangels, shem-angels, other angels, or even deities if you are Gnostic and so on, that you feel free, even as a solitary, to mix in different elements as you learn them. And number 13 is about that you become more and more honest and sincere in your life. And you suddenly one day, maybe years after, start to understand that you are living the magic every day. You are breathing magic. Everything with you vibrates with magic. And number 14, and it comes quite down the road here, but it is that you are accepting yourself with all your flaws as well. And you are also learning to forgive yourself for your flaws. And there are always things that we can't fix. And that is just the way we are created. And some people are born rich but with bad self-confidence, or they are so shy they can't talk in public, and that might hinder them and make them rejected out of society. And others are poor and are very loud and speak freely and are opinionated and gain fame naturally, and they just hate being alone or hate money. And there are so many different versions. Others are born with a body that is constantly sick and ill, and they are suffering, like the shamans always are. They are born with allergies, epilepsy, migraines, all kinds of diseases and so on. Lupus and what other things there are. But the funny thing is that I also notice in myself, that when somebody asks me what kind of magic are you best at, and I say protection magic, and they say that I do healing, and I have never seen myself as a healer, and I don't think of myself as a healer. And so I believe that what we see and feel within ourselves is not the same what others sees in you. And that makes that sometimes people have to ask you or me directly as well, can you do a video about this or that topic? Since that is something I don't think of it in a magical way, it is something that comes natural. And I guess that is just the way we are created. And that also points us out to the important thing, that we are just talking to others and trying to learn from each other. Nobody is really above one another, since we all are good at different things. So there is no need to compete, there is no need to argue. There is that joy of learning together and doing your best and knowing why you don't like something and know why you like something, and that becomes easier and easier with age. And I don't do love magic, for example, since I feel that that is against the free will, and angels don't look freely, nicely upon about that if you go against somebody's free will. So I always put in free will when I do magic for others, so nobody's ever pressured. If they think or feel no, then it's not going to work, so I put in that breaks in there so that it never affects anybody unless they're really wanting it from within. And in a way, that is also finding your true will. Since you're changing, and I believe that I changed completely every 7 years. So your practice changes, what you learn, what you study, everything changes. And for me it's been medical, pharmacological studies that caught my interest, and science sometimes, and history, Bibles, esoterical studies. It can take you in very different ways. And that is just so that you get a broader view about how things work. But it's not a must. Some people have an angel that they follow and never work with other angels, and others have, like me, that I work with a lot. So that is different too. And it is funny how that psychic and magic abilities always... Some people, they believe, who are very easily suggestible, they believe that they are doing magic from right away and they have powers while they actually are just imagining it. But I'm not talking about that kind of power. I'm talking about the true powers that you can trust and learn from, and then use them in order to help others. Angels don't need offerings like many people give off, and saints and so on. They absolutely don't want you to bow down or pray to them. But they, in my case, they always wanted me to take action in the real world, and if they point out something to me, then I also know that they are standing beside me when I do that. So that's when I walk without fear into conflicts and so on, since it might be that I didn't even notice there was a conflict, but the angel pointed me in that direction, and then they stood by me, and we just maybe brought peace into that situation or stopped a robbery or something, and I know they are there with me, and that is somehow that it will become a part of your life. But it is not like in the modern books that they promise you everything at once. But be inspired, and I would not have been able to live my life without magic, and I love my angels, as you know. Have a magical, magical day. I love you all. Bye for now.